in a world where I'm asking you to create so much content, the fact that so many of you do not create content because you're so bent out of shape by the feedback in the comments section. This has become a remarkable fascination of mine, that people literally aren't living their lives to their happiness or fullest because Sally Pants 36 said that you're ugly or fat. People absolutely crippled by the judgment of others without really understanding what it is. Let me say it here right now so there's no confusion. If a human being takes the time out of their day to consume your piece of content, consume it, and then spend time to leave a negative comment to you after consuming your content, think about how shitty that person's life is. Somebody literally has the time to consume your content and try to drag you down. My friends, misery loves company is one of the most interesting sayings that has been in culture for a long time. It most manifests in a very poor way when I watch parents drag their kids into shit because they're upset. But it's one thing, and I have empathy, a lot of it, when it's your mom and dad dragging you through shit, because that's deep. But when an anonymous person with a fucking icon of a rugby player is dragging you through shit, you have to get into a place where that does not bother you. It makes zero sense. I mean, literally, and I get shit on all the time. You get that many comments, you get shit on. When I see it, it's the only, I mean, I don't feel bad for me. I genuinely feel bad for them. I'm fascinated. I've never in my life taken the time to consume somebody's content and then shit on them. It makes absolutely no sense. So please, if you're one of these individuals, and there are a lot of you in this audience that are not producing content because you're worried about the judgment. You know how many people email me, Gary, but I have to put on makeup. Why? Because your grandma told you when you were 7? But Gary, the lighting, why? You don't like the bags under your eyes? Good news, everybody has bags under their eyes. Like, there is an enormous amount of insecurity in the system that is stopping people from creating the thing that they want, and it needs to be talked about in a much bigger way. The judgment of others is a fascinating thing. Do you know